So I came with this princely sum of 7,000 rupees to Bangalore. I'm going to do aluminium. So ALU was kind of made.
Okay.
Now the next thing was, क्या बनाऊं इसको?
Okay.
Right? And I said, okay, the fittings. Okay, Alufit बना देंगे, तो fit भी कर देंगे. I call our organization a polishing school. People work for people. People don't work for organizations.
Beautifully said.
When the markets crashed in 2010-11, I was in a position where I couldn't repay the debts. I think the world is built by the Narayan Murthys and the Shah Rukh Khans. So it's too expensive for something unique to come up. You don't have space. The determination and perseverance that we Indians have as a race should take us to the top.
There are icons, and icons are made through a lot of hard work. And making a legacy is not easy. Today, life has come a full circle for me because I am with a guest who needs no introduction, a person who's created an organization and left behind a legacy today for people to carry it forward. The founder of Alufit, Pankaj Keshwani, sir. Welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you. Thanks, Faisal. Yes.
How are you doing, sir?
Very well. Thank you so much. Right.
So, it was always about business, or how was it? How did Alufit incubate?
Good question. Well, it so happened is that the year was 1984, and I just graduated from business school 2 years earlier. Worked for a year with Usha as a management trainee, and then I joined my brother, who runs a very successful business out of Mumbai in the same field called Aluplex, and I trained under him. The idea, of course, was that we would build this business together and we would grow as a one unit. But then over a period of time, there was some differences of opinion that, when you're young, you're always a little more excitable, right? So you tend to get a little freaked out, if I may say, at small instances. So I think we had that areas of difference. And I then felt that, maybe instead of doing this, continuing this business with him, working there and then building it, I thought I'd probably have my own space because we weren't seeing eye to eye. And I respected him and loved him very much, like I do today, as a brother. But I felt that professionally, if we couldn't work things out, it was better that I move out because it was his business, he'd started it, and it was only fair that I walked out. So that's how it happened, but it didn't really go in a flow where I said, I'm leaving him, so I'm going to start aluminium. I just said that, listen, we're brothers, I don't want to be crossing the wrong path with each other, and I'll find my own space. And I don't know, I was just thinking whether should I do plastics, should I do, garments, should I do... In those days, 40 years ago, those were the industries that were the turning point.
So your childhood was all in Mumbai, sir? Yeah.
So did my schooling at Xavier's and went to Sydenham for my commerce, and from there went to Symbiosis in Pune to do my MBA, yes.
So business family, from a business family?
No. So we're far from a business family. My father was a government officer. He was an IAS officer, and my mother is a gynecologist. So we came from a very professional family where there was no business, except that I think the business was in the genes. We are Sindhis, so business comes very naturally. And my parents were children of partition because they had to leave what was undivided India in those days from Karachi and come to India in 47. And that's how they restarted their life. And they were not married, of course, then. They got married. They met each other much later. But yes, so really there was no business in the family, so to speak. They were both were professionals, and that's been my journey, really. So it's for us, for both me and my brother, we are kind of first generation entrepreneurs.
So, but how did this seed of entrepreneurship come inside you? What said to you that, no, I will not work, I will make something of my own? How did it germ? How did that idea germ?
See, when I was working for the Shriram Group, Usha's, I felt that, I wasn't really, I was learning, but I wasn't learning enough, right? I was a management trainee there, but I felt that I'd get typecast in one role, one function, and I wouldn't get an idea, a knowledge of the other divisions. For example, I was handling sales, but then I said, when will I go to the factory? When do I learn production? And they said, that's not for you, right? And when I said, when do I get into, let's say, looking at new territories, and I want to go to Delhi and I want to see different markets, they said, no, you're for Mumbai, you're for this region, this is what you got to do.
So it was pretty.
So it was like, I thought that I'd be typecast for a few years, and then after 5 years, they'd move me somewhere and then move somewhere. And I felt that personally I had a lot more to contribute. I could learn much more, and I could do more. And I think from there, I said, listen, I don't think I'm going to be happy in this environment.
Maybe the lack of horizontal exposure is what triggered you. But then, what made you select the city of Bangalore out of all cities in India?
Funny question. Good question. I have a funny answer really for it, because when I decided, like I said, when I was leaving my brother, I thought I'll do something on my own. And in 24 hours, I decided I'll do aluminum, right, after eliminating all the other options. But a guilt crept into me. We were living together in the same house. I'd learned under him, whatever those 8-9 months of training that I had, my internship. And I said that, I can't start in Mumbai because this would be not really fair. He was also just about 3 years old in business. And I felt that, this would be like a stab in the back if I had to start on my own and fight against him. And so I thought, let me move out of this city. If I've decided to do aluminum, it's me who's taken the call. And I'll go to somewhere else in India. And 4 decades earlier, if you went to Delhi once, you didn't come back for 3 months.
Yeah.
Right? But that, there was no such luxuries of taking flights and going.
True.
And so I decided that I'll do, I'll travel, go and check out a couple of cities and see which city has the most potential.
Okay.
And that's how I went. I went to Delhi, Calcutta, Madras, now Chennai. And then my last pit stop was Bangalore in a way.
Okay.
And so I think when I came here, I met a few architects, I met people, I met, developers. And I felt the city was quite charming and quite encouraging and welcoming.
Okay.
It had a similar vibe to Mumbai. It was quite cosmopolitan.
Okay.
And I felt, I could make Bangalore my home.
But it's very insightful of you to see a future that had not happened there, because I think so you saw a vision for Bangalore, because it was very primitive. I think so around 84 you shifted here.
Yeah.
And if I may know, what did you have as a financial backup to start this business?
So I mean, in those days there was no Google, there was no net, there was nothing that was available, there was no news. The only news that you got was in the newspapers, and you waited for the morning Times of India to come to know what happened the previous day, and a little bit of Doordarshan that would give you news.
True.
But so reading the news, I somehow felt that, with Mr. Ramakrishna Hegde as Chief Minister here in Karnataka in those days, he was very progressive.
Okay.
And it looked like he was going to be giving Bangalore a good fill up in terms of industry, and he would do the right things. And so it was just one of those states that I felt that, this would have a lot of potential, in a way to speak, and would give good opportunity. And also, to be quite honest, I never liked Delhi or Calcutta or Chennai, to be honest. I mean, they're nice cities, nothing against it, but I felt, I couldn't gel there. I felt Delhi was nice, I spoke the language, but, a little kind of a question mark whether I'd be able to survive in that hostile environment. Calcutta didn't have too much of potential. It was still not really moving well. Madras, I found the limitation and handicap of language.
True.
No one was speaking to me in Hindi or in English.
Yes.
So when I came to Bangalore, most of the auto drivers were Muslims. Everyone spoke Hindi. I just felt I was at home, right? And it became easy to communicate, talk, and interact. And a lot of people spoke Hindi. So I didn't know Kannada in those days. Now I speak it fluently, but then I didn't. So I just felt that, maybe Bangalore was, like I said, a little more encouraging, and with Mr. Hegde at the helm, there seemed to be a lot more positivity coming here. And so I kind of put my money on this city, so to speak.
So how much money was there in the pocket?
Yeah, so good point. I mean, if I really didn't have any money, right? Whatever I had was 5,000 rupees of borrowed money from a friend of mine.
Really?
Yeah, and then my father gave me 1,000 rupees. He said, I'm a retired government servant. I can give you this. My brother gave me another 1,000. He said, all the best, son,
Oh my
brother.
God.
So I came with this princely sum of 7,000 rupees to Bangalore.
From 7,000 to all this, unbelievable, unbelievable. But what inside you spoke to you saying that I could make it big with 7,000? It's not easy. You've said it in a very lighter vein. You've laughed about it. I have laughed about it. But what made you believe 7,000 would work?
Honestly, I didn't think too much. I just came here. I felt that, I had to make a beginning. So I used to get paid 3,000 by my brother in those days. I said, okay, I've got twice the amount of money. I can survive 2 months. We'll see, right? But I never had any idea of going back, right? I said, I'll find some work. I'll find somewhere to get started. And luckily, I was able to raise how you call finances these days, right? But I was able to raise with my uncle who loved me very much. And he gave me 30,000 rupees as a loan.
Oh my.
And so now that I had 37,000 rupees, it was like a large amount of money. And I could use that to, let's say, take a house on rent, and I had to pay, 10 months deposit.
And you were married.
Well, I got married and I came here, yes. So, yeah. So, in a way, when I came here in September 84, I was married because I came here on the 7th of September. I got married on 30th of August in Delhi. And because her family was there, her father was posted in Delhi. And then we came to Bombay, had a reception there, and then 2 days later took the Udyan Express to come to Bangalore. Yeah.
So is risk-taking always been an instinct inside you? Because you just got married with 7,000, not sure about the 30,000 that's coming. You came to Bangalore to start a business. You were not nervous, not anxious.
Well, I didn't think too far ahead. Maybe that's that probably worked in my favor. And yeah, I mean, in today's times, 37,000 looks like very little money, but it's like saying, if suppose today kids get 2 lakhs rupees a starting salary, you get 25 lakhs is still a sizable amount of money in a way to start. And then you get funding and you get, things like that. Things are different, of course.
Did you have a plan B?
No, not really. I mean, I knew I had to make it, and I was going to make it. I just had that self-belief in me that I will go here, and I will, establish myself. And yeah, so like they say, fortune favors the brave.
That's something this generation needs to pick up from you. This is an epitome of self-belief. Because I know the facade industry is not easy, not an easy place to survive, to excel, to build, and to build what you've built today. Obviously with the help of your wonderful team, but it is not easy. And back then in 84, I knew how things were. I've heard about things. So it's not easy, but who was your first client who trusted you and said, here, Pankaj ji, aapka, मैं पहला आपको order देता हूँ?
Knox and I met an architect by the name of Mr. Sanat Kumar, and he was doing a guest house for Salgaonkars in those days. And I requested him, and I, told him that I was very keen, that I'll do the same thing. It was very easy. I mean, I could make these windows for him. And so after 1 hour of discussions, he said, okay, he believed me, and he could give me the job, but subject to the client saying yes. And he said, so I said, I'll meet the client, tell me where to go. And he said, they're in Goa. So I said, I'll take a bus, I'll go to Goa right now.
Okay.
And then he called them and they said, okay, send him over if you believe in him, right? And so I took the bus that evening and I went to Vasco. I met the clients in their office and I kind of convinced them that they should give me the work because I could do the job and I knew how to do it. They in turn asked me to come a few weeks later because they were coming again to Bangalore. And yeah, I was in a way able to sell myself and they gave me an order. And that's how I got my first order of 35,000 rupees from them.
Okay.
But I had no company because I hadn't formed anything. It was all too sudden and too quick.
Okay.
Because I quit my brother's company. In 24 hours, I decided that I wanted to get into aluminium. 48 hours later, I took a train and I went to different cities. 10 days later, I was back in Bombay. And in that, I'd met someone in Bangalore and they said, this is what you have to do. So
Yeah.
I hadn't even given a thought to what the name of the company is going to be, leave alone how I'm going to go about it.
Okay.
So when they gave me, and they said, okay, so you want to check? I mean, you want to need an advance? I said, yeah, sure, I need an advance. And they said, so what name? And I didn't have a name. So I said, give it to me in my brother's company's name. So they wrote out a check in his name.
Oh.
So I took the check. I came back to Bombay and I outsourced, how they say nowadays,
Okay.
right? So I kind of went to my brother and I requested him to make windows and doors for me.
Okay.
He was very sweet and he was kind enough, and he did make those windows for me.
Wonderful.
And then so he fabricated it because I had taken the measurements, and then in a CKD condition I sent it
shipped
by
it to
a
them.
by a truck by road base Patel Road lines to Bangalore, and then went to the bus stop, the truck station as they say, and I cleared the goods, went to site, and then went to the market, bought some glass, bought hardware, found some local assemblers, and then I put these windows up. And I mean, the proof of the pudding, like they say, is in the eating. The windows turned out so good that the client gave me his personal home to do and go after that.
Wonderful,
So one thing led to another, right? I fabricated, I put something, he liked it. They said, okay, come to Goa. I did Mr. Shivanand Salgankar's home in Goa, came back, and then
The
yeah,
cascading
so,
effect.
Yeah, so it just happened.
So how did this name Alufit come to your mind? Now that you told me you didn't have a company name for your first order, so where did you find this name Alufit?
I mean, he was so simple, and I can say I was quite naive. It was nothing that I really given it much thought. Just thought, okay, so I'm going to do aluminium. So ALU was kind of made.
Okay.
Now the next thing was क्या बनाऊं इसको?
Oh, okay.
Right? And I said, okay, the fittings, okay, Alufit बना देंगे तो fit भी कर देंगे. Right?
Okay.
So that's how it became Alufit.
Oh.
So there was no real, great
Big thought behind
great theory or great analysis that went into it.
Okay. So from telling me that you took a bus, went to Goa, it now looks so surreal, right? Going down memory lane, what is the weirdest thing you've done in work? Like, what do you remember as something that you've done? Okay, Faisal, I've done this. This is my memory I will never forget.
I mean, if I had to really think about it, I mean, there are so many crazy situations that one gets thrown
Yeah,
into.
one of those crazy situations.
I mean, it's like, if I have to go, I must go back to the same project in Goa, because when I went and, sometimes, how Goa is, even then it was a very popular destination.
True.
So there would never be enough seats on the bus, and there were even less number of buses that went from here, right? The flights were out of the question because they were too expensive. And I remember, I told the client that I'll come, on Monday to see them, right? And when I went to buy the ticket at the station, right, they said all buses are full for 1 week because there's some, anyway, it's season time. And I pleaded in this and went to maybe 10
Different
operators and Janta, wo, sub, everybody. Nobody had any seats. Only one guy I pleaded, I said, can you give me a seat in the cabin with you, with the cleaner, right?
Okay.
He said, even that's gone. So, so I said, so what can you give me? And he said, ek stool de sakta hu tumhare ko. I said, where will you put it? He said, I'll put it in between, right, in the bus, right?
Okay.
So I said, okay, we'll do, I was young, I said, doesn't matter. So I sat on that stool, right, and we went. But the problem was that in those days, movies were very popular.
Correct.
So the whole journey I had to sit down like this.
For people
because
to-
people said, hey, niche bet. So I think if I have to think of a weirdest and the most craziest thing that I've done is that I've even gone, not just in bus and in the cabin, but sitting on a stool 12 hours going up to Goa, right, to see, because I promised the client I'll come. And it's the last thing I'd do is break a promise. So that's what I
From
did.
sitting in a stool on a bus to building this wonderful organization. How do you go through this, remember this journey in terms of people joining you as you moved along? So it's not be easy. Today, I think so over 1,000 employees work.
3,000,
3,000 employees
Strong,
work,
yes.
my bad. So how does this journey go from the first employee till whoever is there today?
You know, I think I've been quite fortunate. I consider myself a child of God. He's always looked after me and my needs in a way. So, many people who've joined us actually retired with us, right? So I was young when I started when I was 24. So there were people who were 30, who were 32 who joined us. And, they all completed their journey with us. They've been there with us 30 years, 35, 40 years through the journey. And some came in later. So I've always had the right kind of people in a way. And even now, if you look at my organization, my key team, and I would say 100 among the 3,000 are, let's say, the key and the cream among the top. None of them are less than 10 or 12 years old, right? And why? Not because they've kind of left us or they're other thing, but they're young, right? So someone who's coming at 26, 27 is now only 38, 39, right? So, but then some of the older ones are 20, 25 years old, 30 years old as we've kind of grown and picked them up, right? So I call our organization a polishing school in a way that people come in very raw and then we polish them. And then we make them into diamonds, right?
They grow out of
Yeah.
you.
So-
That's, I think so, has been one of the reasons you've retained people. Because I think so you've given them enough challenges to take responsibilities to shoulder. And I also feel that the kind of leader you are, you lead by example. Today that kind of leadership works, but back in those days when you were all coming up and you were getting into this phase, I think so you were very prudent in making that happen earlier. So do you look at vision being a reason for retaining people, or growth on their side being a reason for retaining people?
if you really analyze and you go back, you'll see that people work for people. People don't work for organizations.
Beautifully said.
Yeah. You can have a big name, you can, without being rude or unfair. But I'm saying, you can say I'm an L&T, right? I'm a Reliance, I'm an Adani. And all that works, right? Okay. But at the end of the day, it's whom you're interacting with, whom your immediate bosses, what are the core values of the company, right? Why is L&T so strong today? Why is Reliance? Why is Adani strong? It's because they've been able to build that culture, right? And retain people. And I think that all comes with people being humble and having humility, right? There's no place for arrogance, right? And I think if you're humble and you have that collective approach of taking people, carrying them with you, you'll always succeed. I never say it's never my company, it's our company, right? I still believe in it.
Yeah.
Right? We are 3,000 strong. It's everybody's company.
True.
Right? And because they believe in it so strongly, they work the way they do. It's not me who puts in 12 to 14 hours a day. I'm not the only one, right? Everybody puts in that kind of hours. We are all Narayan Murthys here. Even the workers at the plants, at the factories, they all work. They all want to work beyond their shift. It's another story that when they work beyond their shift, you have OTs and you have, double OT, everything. So it's all very, very clear. But I'm saying, and as per law. But I'm saying that no one comes to office with the thing, it's going to be 6 and it's still 5 hours left and I have to go. They all have a passion and a drive that brings them here to the office and to the factories.
I've observed the facade industry now for quite a few years, and I've seen a lot of organizations grow to great heights and they fade. People come and people go. But one thing about you I've admired, I've been inspired, is that you've stood the tides of time. And I personally feel that's because of the kind of financial discipline you come with. This is my take on it. Could you just elaborate how important is that word financial discipline when it comes to this business?
I think you couldn't have said it better. I think financial discipline is the most crucial aspect. See, there's vision, there's growth, there's ambition, there's desire. All these are all there, right? And you will get opportunities for growth, and you will have clients calling you and inviting you to do the job. But if you have no financial discipline, you'll never grow. Today, my team knows that come hell, come fire, right? We've been through some crisis, but on salary day, they'll get their salary credited into their account. Yeah, okay. And they don't need to worry that, that it's going to, we are going through COVID, or we are going through, companies going through a crisis. Beg, borrow, or steal, we find a way, right? Because that for us is like a statutory payment. It's like a bank payment. Like I have to honor my
There's no default.
Yeah, there's no chance of defaulting, right? Because I strongly believe that workers at the plant, right, they live from month to month, right? You get that salary, and with that you got to pay the kids' fees, you got to buy the ration, you got to pay the rent, you've got to do everything. A person like you and me, we have the luxury. If suppose I don't have the money and I don't pay rent for 6 months, he's not going to evict me. He'll understand.
True.
But for a worker, he doesn't have the same, luxury,
Yes.
right? He has to. If he doesn't give on the day that he's promised, the next day the guy will be on his door. What happened? You didn't pay.
Yeah.
And they get worried. They'll take them out. The kids will get, pulled up at school. They'll say parents haven't paid the fees. So, my only prayer to the Lord every morning is that just ensure I have enough money to clear my obligations.
That's so
yeah.
beautiful. But during this entire journey when you were growing Alufit, I just wanted to understand, did you any time feel, अरे यार business में मैं क्यों आ गया? ऐसा कभी initial stages में एक feeling आया कि it's too challenging यार?
No, I don't think that came that my business में क्यों आया. I was quite happy and enthusiastic about it. I used to feel कि यार इतना मुश्किल लाइन में कभी सोचा नहीं था.
True that.
Because you're always selling on credit. Yeah.
True.
And collecting money is not always easy
And
in our
paying
line.
on cash.
Yeah. So you have to buy on cash, but you have to sell on credit. I mean, it's the most foolish thing to do. But yeah, so, but there was no reversal. To my good fortune, I met some very good developers and very good people who have become dear friends of mine today.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, some of the leading lights in this industry, whether it's Mr. Irfan Razak of Prestige, or it's Mr. Jay Shankar of Brigade, or Vijay Agarwal of Satwa, Raja Bagmane. We're all good friends, It's all a personal relationship and an equation that I've developed with each of them. I'm forgetting my best friend, Jitu Virwani, a brilliant guy, one of the most, far-thinking developers. So, all of them, I came into the city when everybody actually started, almost
started at the
from
same
zero.
time.
Some of them a little earlier, some of them a little later. But, but around the same time. And I don't think any of these companies is more than 40 or 50 years old, for that matter. So I kind of came in probably at the right time, and I rode the wave. I didn't really have much to do. The wave took me with it. I just managed to hold on to my surfboard, and yeah.
Generally, when entrepreneurs grow into a journey which reaches a decent level, they think that they should diversify. Okay, let me not put all eggs in the same basket. Let me keep a few eggs in another basket. So did you ever think of diversification, and did you diversify?
I wouldn't say I diversified, but yes, I did some backward integration. I got into aluminum extrusions, and I set up a extrusion company because I was finding it a bit of a challenge to get aluminum on time for my deliveries. And but I must admit that was a folly on my part, because what I did was that when you run business for very long and every decision that you've taken has worked, you tend to sometimes think you have the Midas touch.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
And you feel anything that I do will just
gold.
not. Yeah. I can't do anything wrong. And what am I doing wrong? I'm just getting into extrusion. So I looked at it logically in my head that I'm going to be buying my own aluminum. So others will be making at least 10% on the product when you sell. So I'll have that saving. So I need 200 tons now per month. Soon it'll become 500, 600 tons. So it'll just be a extension, plus I'll sell in the market. So it seems like such a logical, a kind of a decision to take. And I went, hammer and tongs trying to set this whole plant up. And at that stage and age, 15 years ago, I felt that I had, if I had to do something after 25 years in business, I want to build India's best plant.
Okay.
Right, even bigger than Jindal and even bigger than Hindalco, and I wanted to be the best in the industry, which I did by setting up a single unit, which was the best and the biggest and far ahead of its time. I put an anodizing, powder coating, PVDF line, all integrated along with my aluminum, the extrusion line which I bought from Ube in Japan. So I invested so heavily into it that I forgot the mathematics. Right. I
Very
forgot
rare for a Sindhi to forget mathematics.
Well, I could still do 2 plus 2 is 4, but the problem was that I invested 5 times that amount and I got myself over leveraged. So, with the result that when the markets crashed in 2010-11, I was in a position where I couldn't repay the debts that I had taken from the bank. And that was my problem because, the business was sound, was great, everything was good, but I didn't have money to repay my obligations because I always felt that, life could never come down, it would go up, and next year I'll do better than this. And like how we all think, we put our kids in, overseas to study, you put your kids in better schools. So you think like, listen, why? Because next year, if I'm earning a lakh today, I'll be earning a lakh and 15,000, then it'll become a lakh and 40,000.
Correct.
So I'll repay that. So I felt the same thing in my business. I'm making X, and then it'll become X plus 1. Doesn't matter, I'll pay off my debts. But that X will become X minus 50, I never thought.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
so that's what happened, and we were going through these challenging times. So I've learned that, if you have to do anything, just don't go by instinct, right? You need to go with, you need more than guts and instinct. It needs
to be a calculated risk.
it needs to be, it needs to be logically thought of. You need to study the industry. You need to study the market. You need to give it to someone like Bain or McKinsey to give you a project report.
True.
Go through the right way, see what the potential is, and then commit money to it.
But being the smart person you are, you realize things are going sideways. So what did you do as a course correction? I'm asking you this because a lot of entrepreneurs, young entrepreneurs, when a primary business is doing well, they want to diversify. Right? It could happen that it could also go sideways. So what was your course correction in terms of bringing things back to normal as the way they are today?
See, the first thing I did was that I realized that I can't navigate two boats at the same time. Which is one is the extrusion and the other is fabrication.
Yes.
Both extremely demanding industries.
Correct.
So I said I had to let go of one if I had to survive the other.
Correct.
And since fabrication was my first love, I decided that I'd let go of extrusion.
True.
And with that, I looked to get a partner or a buyer for it. Fortunately, I was able to find a buyer very quickly. So Sapa from Norway, who are one of the world's biggest companies and leading lights in this industry, they expressed an inclination to buy. They came into India. I wanted to give them 30%, and then they said they wanted 51, became 64, 76. Before I knew it, after 5 meetings, they said they won the 100% of the company. But I said, fine, like I said, I had to survive. And so I let go of a very good business that was there. But it helped me to learn. I mean, I understood a lot by doing this. And I came out of jail, so to speak, because I was so much in debt that the first thing I wanted to do was, get out of that.
Okay.
And by selling it, I not only got my capital back, but I got at least a fair amount of money over it, which helped me bring in good capital into fabrication. So in a way, it was God teaching me a lesson, saying, your head's become too swollen, right? Now you better well come back to earth. So it kind of grounded me, and I realized that, I didn't have the Midas touch.
No,
right?
you did.
So I kind of, came back to basics, put money into mine, and then, came out of
humble
the
by
crisis.
saying you didn't have the Midas touch, but even to have the prudency to course correct and to build a plan that a company like Sapa would buy it. That was the ace stroke there. See, Sapa being Sapa would not buy a normal extrusion line for sure.
Yeah.
So, there was a lot of talk in the industry that you had a lady luck shining on you, but lady luck shines on people who have done the right thing somewhere before that. So, just let's get things a little lighter.
Yeah, sure.
We've been doing a lot of serious talk. How much is ma'am been a part of this entire journey? Because you just got married, 7,000 in the pocket, come to Bangalore, not sure what is going to happen tomorrow. Great trust and faith on you as a husband, right?
I mean, fantastic question, and so pardon me if I get emotional because these
No,
things,
please do.
These things happen. I mean, absolutely, you couldn't have said it better. Uh, she's been my rock of Gibraltar, so to speak. And I might get emotional here, so just excuse me, but I'll try my best. If I had to really go back, my wife and me, we started dating when I was 17. Yeah. Today it's illegal to date when you're at that age.
The handsome man you are, no wonder.
No. She's extremely beautiful as she's today as she was then, and we kind of we lived in the same colony, so we kind of got to know each other a bit, and then when it was, in a way, it kind of organically grew our relationship, and then when it was time when we became adults and we had to I had to now get married. I mean, in a way, at least we'd committed to each other, but yeah, we hadn't thought of getting married at this young age of 24, but more like 26, 27. However, Bangalore became a trigger, and I was going to come here, so I asked her that, listen, I don't know where my second meal is going to come from. Hopefully, I'll have one. But so I said, I don't know how it's going to be, but so can I, should I just go there, set things up, and maybe a year or two, anyway, we plan to get married a little later. I'll come back and take you with me, and then it should be okay. And she said something very profound, and she said, listen, I'd rather struggle with you during these days and come with you rather than come when everything's all set, right? So, I don't want to...
Unbelievable. Yeah.
So I don't want to come when everything's all over. Then where's the struggle? So
that line must be like that's enough for a man to move forward. No?
Exactly.
I may come and
all
struggle
the confidence, you have all the backing with you, then you don't need it.
She saw something in you. I guess she saw that there was a promise. There was this guy will figure his way out.
I think what she saw was that I wouldn't make 7,700, probably more like 70,000. So in a lighter way, yeah, probably see, it's important that you believe in each other, right? I believed in her, and she believed in me, so to speak.
Well said.
And and we took that plunge, and we came here. Right?
Behind every successful man, there's a woman, but the man also has to acknowledge the role of the woman. That's very important. And then, when were the kids? When did the kids come into your life?
So my first girl is 38. She was born in 87, so 3 years down the line.
Okay.
And then my twins came along, Tanya and Tasha, in 33 now, so 92, yes. Yeah, so they came then.
Okay.
And yes, so the children came along as time progressed, and we built and we got settled down. And yes, I mean, if I have a regret today, it's that I didn't spend enough time with them because I was really trying to build the business.
That was supposed to be my next question to you.
No, but please, you can ask. Right?
No, it's fine. No, please continue.
No. So it's been a bit hard on them. I have to admit. Not having a father around for 5-6 days of the week. I mean, I would go out in the mornings, come back late at night. They were young kids, so they had to go to school, they'd go to bed, and probably the only time I would see them was 5-10 minutes in the morning before they head out again to take their bus. And then on weekends, and probably see them a little more on Saturdays and Sundays, right? So that's been one regret. One of my girls says that, my father never had 3 children, he had 4. And his first love is Alufit. So that's something that I have to correct. I want them to at least believe, or I want them to know that I love all 4 equally. And so,
true,
it's not that
I know that
there is nothing, but
But recently I heard in one of the clips, Shah Rukh Khan said if you have to build something iconic, there is no normal life. You have to be restless. There's no work-life balance. You have to sleep less. All these people who say there's work-life balance and then you can make it big, doesn't work that way. Do you agree with it?
Absolutely, 101%.
Okay.
Right. I think the world is built by the Narayan Murthys and the Shah Rukh Khans. Right.
Correct.
And I don't mean really in terms of films or Hollywood or Bollywood for
Yeah.
that matter. It's just that you need a certain amount of discipline, dedication, hard work, resilience, perseverance. These are all qualities that come,
True.
right? And if you're not willing to give that up for a cause, then you'll never be. Look
True.
at our Prime Minister, Mr. Modi. Do you think he relaxes ever?
True.
Right. So, I mean, the world. When you look at iconic people, you'll always find a history to it.
True.
You won't find someone who's been lazy, who's been
Yeah.
careless, who's been casual, and he's sitting on the top.
No.
Right. So I think if you really get inspired and you want to see what true legends are all about, that's what you are. That's what you got to see.
So work-life balance is not a real term, is it?
Well, I think it's being blown out of proportion. It's not that I didn't enjoy myself or I didn't find time to go on holidays or on vacation. You do, but I think the present trend about saying that 8 hours of work and 9 hours is sufficient, and that after that I want personal time. I think that's a bit exaggerated. I think what's important is that when you are on the job, you put in your best, right? And if that job takes 8 hours or 10 hours or 12 hours, then you don't look at the clock.
True.
Don't be a clock watcher. You look at your work, right? If you're done with your work, then that's fine. It could be 6 hours, right?
Good, yeah.
And if it's not done even after 12 hours, then
Get it
just continue, finish it, and then leave, right? So, and different industries have different needs, yeah. One size doesn't fit all, right?
True,
And
true.
maybe a business like ours needs more amount of dedication, more amount of passion, more amount of drive, because we're always working against time.
True.
Right? The delays come from, let's say, the civil side, construction
Correct,
doesn't happen,
correct.
permissions
You'll have
don't
to
come.
cover up for everything.
And then you got to be a magician and then put this all together. So some jobs are a little more challenging.
As a youngster, in the facade industry, I've always grown up seeing you, hearing about you, listening from your team members. I know you're a great professional. You have great work ethics. Your discipline is ultimate. How are you as a father? Are you a disciplinarian?
Oh, that I can answer. I thought, how am I as a father? You got to ask the girls.
No.
But no, I've not been a great disciplinarian there. I don't believe playing that role in the sense that, along with also not spending time, I mean, that would be a double whammy, right? So, but I've always believed that, one has to have a distinction between professional life and personal. And when you're when you're at work, it's like use your head and heart. But when you're at home, use only your heart. Yeah? You can't be using your head at home, right? So why I say heart is that you can't be ruthless at work.
True.
Right? You must have that human angle to it, because you're dealing with labor, you're dealing with people, you're dealing with those who are not as endowed as you, and has to be always have that compassion and that humility. I mean, we are all where we are today because of the accident of birth. I didn't choose to be where I am.
True.
Right? Someone up there ordained I should be here, give me a good education, and I've been able to do something for society.
True. So now that daughters are married and they have children and they do?
No, I've gone a bit too far, but no, yeah.
They don't.
So
you're not become a granddad. is it?
No. Do I look like one?
So how do you unwind at the end of the day when they were young and they were at home, still not away from home, married?
Yeah.
So what was your typical unwind after a long day of work? What did you go home and do? How did you
Then or now?
Then how did you face out your work and be just Pankaj sir at home, the dad, the husband? Is it easy to switch off and switch on?
I mean, I wouldn't say it's easy. I think when you're at work, and I think this happens to everyone, whether it's a man or a woman or
true.
anyone who's driven, you're switched on 24/7, right? So
Yes.
that you're always thinking about the next step. So uh, when anyone would ask me a question, I'd be actually thinking about something else. So I wouldn't register immediately. And they said, "But how do you have such a great memory when you're at work? We tell you something here, and tomorrow morning you forget that you've said it." So, so I've been guilty of it. Still am. But yeah. So, but like I said, you need to give time. You need to find time. And now that I'm chairman of the group, it's become so much more easier for me that I can spend time with the girls, and take vacations and.
You're making up for lost time.
Yeah, maybe like I said, I've been lucky in many ways. I can still find time to be with them because normally by 2022 everybody flies away. They go to US, they go to UK, no one comes back, and then it's difficult to spend time. So it's not in my case at least. So I've been, only gratitude to God.
What is your favorite pastime as a after work? What do you like to do, or on a weekend? What do you generally like to ease out things? What do you do?
Well, I like listening to music. I like singing too, though I don't have a good voice. But but yeah, I unwind by these kind of ways, right? And I like watching good serials, movies, reading. I love doing up homes. I have a few homes around the countryside, and so I like going up to my weekend places and then spending time there.
Are you passionate about automobiles? I can see a lot of automobile in your cabin here.
I love cars. Yes, I love even planes. I have this. I like to pick up these small knickknacks wherever I go or travel.
Okay.
It brings back memories to me, and many times I kind of bring this home.
Okay. And has Sindhi culture comes with a lot of food. So how important is food as a tool to unwind?
Oh, I mean, food's like a passion to any Sindhi or Punjabi for that matter. Right? We live to eat. We don't eat to live, right? So it's like, yeah. I mean, anything that's sweet or it's fried is like for a Sindhi.
The moment I said Sindhi food, the dal pakwan is ringing in my mind now.
Sure, absolutely.
So the daughters have followed their own career path.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
And there was legacy was, in terms of inheritance, was never a part of Alufit. Did you ever try to talk to them and say, why don't one of you come as a leader into Alufit? Did you ever try that?
See, I think any family, when you're into business or in any profession for that matter, right? They'll love that their children followed them in their path.
True.
My father would have loved it if I became an IAS or an IPS officer. Yes. My mother would have been very happy if I became a cardiologist, right? But none of us took that path.
Correct.
Right? So it's not that you need to really do it. I think what's important is that one needs to give children the freedom to choose what gives them happiness, right? And they're free. They're birds at the end of the day. They need to fly.
Correct.
And they're not here to be put into a golden cage.
Yeah.
So we gave them the freedom, that my wife and me, that choose, do whatever you wish to do. And yes, when the business had grown and become established, I did invite them and I said, come, it'd be great if you could come over and join me. But since their interests were quite different, they're on the creative side, so they weren't really inclined towards it. And then so I decided that let them be their own and follow their own heart. And I had to get this professionalized, and then that's when I decided to either take it public or do a strategic tie-up. I was again fortunate that I could get Shuko to be a partner with me, and we've done a joint venture. So yes, so that's been a good plus point for us.
God's grace. It has been a perfectly scripted story of yours. So it is just gone through the right ways it should go. And I think so it comes through a lot of, I may sound a little spiritual, maybe there is a lot of good karma you've accumulated over the period of years, the kind of person you are. And in spite of achieving so much in the field of facade, so grounded, so humble. You mentioned a few names before of the developers who you were talking about. See, if they are friends to you, it's just because of the person you are, the kind of trust you've built with them, right? And today the industry is in a point where, like, if Alufit is there, then let's sleep peacefully. Developers do that.
No, thank you for that compliment. I mean, it's very nice to hear. We've tried our best. Like I said, that the reason I've sat on that stool and I went to Goa is because I promised something. So we never go back on a promise.
True.
You may have difficult times, and I always believe that communication is very important, and truthfulness, integrity. These are cornerstones of life and cornerstones of business. For example, if I'm late on a job, and I promised you, even if I could be 3 days late on supplies, I don't take it for granted, right? In the earlier days, I would call Mr. Razak and tell him that, listen, I'm sorry, I said Monday material is coming in, but we've got into a bit of a challenge, it'll come on Thursday. And he said, why? So I said, just some little glass didn't come, but Thursday. I said, sure? I said, yeah, sure. So fine. So, you tell them. It's not that, you take anyone for
granted.
Yeah. And I think now we do the same thing, even when we are much larger and bigger. The team now calls the project manager and says, so that no one's put it at a surprise. You're given a date, 10th of August, it's going to come, and it doesn't come till 20th of August. I mean, how can you imagine that someone should just take it?
True.
So I think that's very important. And what you say, you walk the talk, right? So I think if you do these couple of things,
you win people's trust.
Yeah.
Going down memory lane, you just shared that you learned the initial part of the business from your brother, Mr. Naveen Keshwani sir. And how is the relationship after you both have grown? You've built your own businesses, and do you still find time to catch up and have those old brother arguments that you had when you were young?
Yeah. See, like I said, the personal relationship never changed. So because of business, sometimes you need to keep a few secrets, right? So we had to keep those because we were competing sometimes for the same client, the same job.
True.
So I think maturity comes in with age.
True.
And so I mean, it's been a wonderful relationship that I had then and that I shared till today. And I mean, no complaints.
Do you find time to catch up with each other?
Yeah, I mean, well, he's still busy, so he's still at work, so to speak, while I've taken a back seat in many ways. I have a huge organization. I have Shuko, who's, that takes care of the day-to-day management of the business while I'm chairman. But so while I've been able to free myself, he hasn't been.
Okay.
Hopefully he will in a couple of years, and then we'll have time to, like the old days.
So you said you've taken a back seat that allows you now more family time, right?
Yeah. So
And how do you keep yourself occupied? Because I've known you to be the person who's like going really boom, boom, boom on work. I've never stopped you seen roll. So what do you do to keep yourself occupied?
So it's like this. I mean, I'm a mentor now to the group, right? To Alufit, to the team. I am called only when they have a challenge. Fortunately, they've had very little challenges over the last 6 months. So till December, I was in charge for the top line and the bottom line. And now we have a completely new team in place. So Rajiv Anthony now heads, he's the managing director cum CEO. And so, it's only if they, I just conduct meetings once a month, right, where I do a review of the work. And yes, if there's a challenge, then I'm there to always by their side. Like you see, we're doing this in my office, in my cabin right now. So I am involved, but detached in a way from the day-to-day operations. And to keep myself, I've already got into a few businesses myself. So it's something called, it's just my innings 2 that I'm playing now. There was a different innings where I was only doing aluminum and but now I'm into so many different fields. I'm looking at investments into many investments that we're looking into, even into space or into electrical vertical transport.
Wow.
We've taken some, other interests in some
One
companies.
thing is for sure, you can't be kept quiet. Keeping quiet or retiring is not in your dictionary, I guess. So it's interesting. So You're starting back from scratch in some ways.
Yeah.
Now the legacy is built, but whatever you're doing now is
Right.
new, right?
I'm doing things that give me pleasure, that give me happiness. There were many things that I'd put on hold in my journey of growth, which are my passions, which I had not, let's say, allowed to fuel, and now I'm giving it fuel.
Okay.
And so I'm working on those, and yeah, I'm enjoying every minute. Yes.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful. That's so nice. So, when you travel as a facade enthusiast, do you judge facades when you travel to different countries? Because every country has their own style of architecture and own way of making buildings. So, do you judge? And when you see them, what do you feel that India should be doing more in terms of architecture or facades? What is your opinion about it?
No, most certainly. I mean, whenever I visit and I travel, I visit sites, I go to buildings, I go up, and what's at times interesting and fascinating is that when I take these videos and I send it back home, and I tell them, listen, this is what's done in London, but we do a better job than this, right? So sometimes you see detailing not so good, or you see the silicone not applied correctly, right? Or you see the flashing is not right. So when I see these overseas, right, and I see things, and I compare back to home how particular we are in our jobs, and it gives me a great sense of satisfaction that we kind of we are at times so critical of ourselves, but it's always very very relative.
Okay.
Right, and it's not that we're comparing ourselves to the third world. I mean, it's comparing it to, let's say, things that have been done much more sophisticated,
Correct,
with much
correct.
better machinery, much more better equipment and manpower, so to speak, in terms of handling.
True.
Right. We can't afford those kind of machinery that they have
They
there.
have, yeah.
Right. Because in India, rentals are at $1 to $2 a square foot.
True.
Right. Whereas abroad you get $10 to $12 for the same thing.
True.
So obviously they have bigger budgets, and with the bigger budgets, they are also able to afford much more.
Correct.
So we have our challenges, but to see that with our limitations, we're able to achieve that. But having said that, we've recently done a very beautiful project in Mumbai called the Oberoi Commerce 3. It's a 52-story tower for the Oberoi Group, where Morgan Stanley has taken space. I mean, you've got to see that building to, it's like world class.
Yeah,
right?
I drive through
you
that
pass
road.
that.
Yeah,
So you know what I mean.
It's next to the Western.
Yeah, and it's done through COVID.
Yes.
We got the order in COVID, and through COVID, we executed it. Just got completed a year ago. So with very very difficult times, right? So when labor had gone back home.
You've seen this industry evolve from fenestration to facade, today to dynamic facade, parametric and whatnot. And it's been a journey of like 42 years now. How do you see the future of facade in India?
See, if I had to take it in terms of numbers, right? If you look at the global size of the aluminum industry, the facade industry, it's about $50 billion, right? And India's contribution to that currently is about 1.5 billion. So we're about 3% of the world's size.
Correct.
In terms of that. However, if you ask me, I think this 3% in 10 years' time, in a decade, would touch 10% of the world's size.
Okay.
Because just in about 2 years, we should be doubling. We should be about 5%
Okay.
in terms of volume. And if you look at the facade industry, the world being about $100 billion then, I would think India's contribution would be about 10 billion at that time.
Okay.
Right. So,
So it's going to grow.
we are the largest growing market today.
True.
Right? And especially so in the free world, right? Yeah, and the only two countries that are really growing at this level of 6 to 7% annually is India and China.
True.
Right? Where India is the free economy. So the amount of money that would come into India and the opportunities that are here are phenomenal. Added to it, we're doing all the right things. We are getting into sustainable, renewable energy, EVs and things like that. So what you're really going to see is a revolutionary change here. And the same thing's going to come in buildings, like you said. Smart buildings are coming up, dynamic facades. These are all, while they're not so common today, it's going to become a thing which is going to be quite popular and
So I have been a part of the facade industry in different aspects, from the contracting business to the material side now. What do you look at? How do you look at the metal cladding industry evolve over a period of time? Because again, you've seen the entire journey,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And today, where it stands, how do you see? Are you happy with the way it has evolved? The Indian manufacturers have. Uh,
See, I think in terms of material, I think we've got some of the best materials in the world can offer. Like you said, the metal composite panels that are made here are of exceptional quality. I think 50% of yours will be more of an export market, right?
True.
Hopefully, it's not to the US a major portion because with the tariffs around,
the tariffs are out, yes.
it's not going to be easy. Yeah, because India's, you know. 18% of India's exports are to the US. So I was just saying in relative to it, that in relative comparison, that I hope you don't have a major exposure there because the next 6 months are going to be a little difficult. However, I think otherwise, and I mean, if we weren't making good materials and we weren't doing that, we wouldn't have such a big share of the world market.
True.
So I think we are today getting world-class material at local prices.
Correct.
And like Mr. Modi says, think global, build local,
Yes.
right? So I think that's it.
Yeah, you're perfectly right, sir. Because what the world used to give it to us, we used to buy from the world. Now we're selling it back to the
Yes,
world.
yes.
And luckily, our major share of exports is not in the US. It's concentrated around Middle East and Southeast. So,
Yeah.
we're lucky that way. But yes, there is going to be a little turbulence in terms of the US markets being addressed because of government policies coming in. As an entrepreneur who started with 7,000 rupees and made such a big company and has left a legacy for so many of people to carry it forward, and also involved an international company in day-to-day operation, what is a piece of advice you want to give to a person who wishes to start a business or has already started a business? What is your advice to them?
If I had to summarize, I'd just like to say there's no shortcut to success, right? And what you're seeing today is 40 years of hard work, love, dedication, passion, blood, sweat, tears, right? This didn't happen in 5 years. This doesn't happen in 10 years. So what's important is that you've got to be at it. First, you've got to believe in a cause. You've got to believe in something, right? And then you've got to go on it hammer and tongs. You've got to go with determination, perseverance, guts. It all comes together with it, right? So I think if you want to achieve something big, you've got to be, focused, and you've got to be driven towards it. You look at the Tatas, right? I mean, they're a 200, 170, 180-year-old company, right?
Correct.
But they've probably branched out into many other industries.
True.
So anything for that matter, the Birlas, anyone else, right? They went through tumultuous times. There were times in the 70s or the late 60s when income tax was 97%, right? So what did it show? They didn't give up, and they said, for every 100 rupees that I'm making, in fact, at one time it even hit 99 in 68, 69, right? So you people may not be aware, of course.
Yes.
Even I was only a few years old at that time, but all I'm saying is that they didn't say that for 1 rupee, why should I work? But they just believed that times would get better, times would change, right?
Yes.
So it's the same thing with life today. We thought at COVID, many people felt it was the end of the world. Was it? In fact, today business has come back, rebounded.
Yes.
It's 5 times bigger and better than what it was.
The economies have grown actually, multifold.
Sure, yes.
So, if you have to give a message to the young man who came to Bangalore after all these 42 years of hard work, sweat and blood, what would be the message you want to give to that young man who came with 7,000 rupees in his pocket? It can be an appreciation or it can be a correction.
No, I think for that time, what I did worked, right? I wouldn't say that if I came 40 years now and I came with 7,000, things would work, right? And I would probably choose the same field because there are so many more opportunities. The world has opened up a great deal. I mean, if I had to be something, I'd probably think bigger. I'd think larger. I'd want to, there's funding available. right? So why would I want to restrict myself? I'd probably think of building, a Reliance, right? If I had to come now, I'd think of trying to build a $1 trillion company. Why would I want to start small? Yeah, I mean, 40 years later, life is different, life is bigger.
But you made it sound very humble. It's not as I know how the facade business operates. It's a very challenging business, especially in India with the kind of planning we go through at different phases. As you said, we have to do magic at the end. Uh, for Mr. Pankaj Keshwani, uh, what is that one mantra that has carried him throughout his entire journey? One word that this is which I'll stick to, and I will not leave it at any cost.
I think integrity.
Well said.
Right.
Well said.
I think that's it, right? So you're truthful, you're honest, you live your life ethically. I think that's it. There's nothing more to it.
I apologize for saying that the young man who came, you're still young. No doubts about it. You have energy as much as we guys don't have. And every time I have a conversation with you, there have been quite a few instances, and it's always inspiring. It's always cleansing. It's a learning curve for me, and I believe you are a great inspiration to this generation and generations to come. And I'm glad God has been kind that I have been given this role to bring this journey of yours to people forward. We're going to spice things up a bit.
Yeah.
So we'll just get into a quick rapid fire now that things have become very deep and serious.
Sure.
So I'll just get into asking you a few questions.
Sure.
And I expect you to answer quickly. That's a request, and very candidly.
Absolutely. Yeah.
If your life had a title, what would it be?
Difficult question. I'd say stay hungry, stay foolish.
Wonderful. Your guilty pleasure food?
Chocolates.
Dark or milk?
Dark.
If you could time travel past or the future, what would you choose?
Future. Probably go to Mars. I spent enough time on Earth.
Earth needs more of you. A dream travel destination you've not visited yet?
Antarctica. I'd love to go there. Yeah.
That would be an experience.
Yes.
And I guess you should do it quick. One thing in your office that you would never let anyone touch. Though you've touched quite a few of your things here now.
My cars, my little memorabilia. I'm quite touchy about that. So
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. If you had to survive with only 3 apps on your phone, what would it be?
One is Google. The other is my clock because I need my alarm. Yeah.
Okay.
And the third would probably be my camera because I love shooting, going to various places, seeing my sights, seeing work.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. If India was the brand, what would be your tagline to it?
Come to India, you ain't seen anything yet.
One thing that makes Indian business culture unique, because you've been interacting so much with other country.
I think adaptability, jugaad, what we have, we're very, very flexible.
Correct. We can adapt to any circumstance.
yeah.
Yes. A city in India that you think will be the next global hub for architecture and facade?
I wouldn't like to say one city, but I think there would be 3 cities that would vie for that title in 5 years, or maybe 10 years for that matter. I think one I'd say Bangalore, the other is Hyderabad, and the third is Gurgaon. I think all these 3 cities are getting a lot of newer architecture and buildings coming there.
Okay, you missed out on my city, current city. It's
No,
okay.
Mumbai is too expensive for something unique to come up. You don't have space.
India in 2050, how do you picture it?
I think we're anyway due to be the 3rd biggest economy in the world in the next couple of years. We are 4th right now. I think we would be the biggest by then. India would be 100 years plus independent. And, the resilience of the Indian people and our self-belief and, the hard work and discipline that we have. Okay, discipline could improve, but really the determination and perseverance that we Indians have as a race should take us to the top.
One global business practice that you think Indians or India should adopt?
Yeah, I think discipline. Yeah, I think that's the one where we are lacking. That's something that we need to improve on.
Are you a chai person or a coffee person?
Coffee. I mean, I drink both, but yeah, I enjoy my coffee more than the tea. Yeah.
Black or
Black,
Black.
no sugar. I mean,
the most underrated skill in business today?
mm, I'd say perseverance. Yeah. I mean, people think, that you need to just start something and things will just organically grow.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's very immature to think that way, or let's say a little.
What is more important, hard work or talent?
I think both are important, but what's more important is hard work. Talent you can waste. You could be blessed with a lot of talent, but if you don't use it correctly, of what use is it?
A relationship lesson that also works in business.
Trust.
I guess that was the reply coming. I just don't have words to share this experience. I maybe for my entire lifetime I would cherish this day of August 11th.
Thank you.
And this is life coming a full circle for me. In '84 I was a 10-year-old kid, and today I'm sitting with one of the inspirations who I may have not heard from you and learned, but I've heard from other people about you and learned, which is actually much bigger than learning directly from you. So that's the kind of impact you've made on the society and the community of facade and architecture. I wish you all health. I wish you all luck and all success for your new ventures to come. Sometimes
Thank
off the
you.
camera, I would want to know what those ventures are.
Sure.
So that'd be interesting.
Sure. Yeah.
So
Done.
wishing you all the great luck, sir, and great health. Thank
Thank
you
you.
so much for giving
Thank
us
you.
this privilege. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Pleasure.